More breaking news here. Dramatic dashcam video just into our newsroom showing a catastrophic multi-vehicle collision. A car traveling at extreme speed seen here flying by one vehicle, slamming into the back of a van. All of this happening on Roscoe Boulevard in Sun Valley. A total of 3 vehicles were involved, 9 patients treated by first responders. 2 people rushed to the ER in serious condition.
Man, oh man, we're getting a lot of this here in SoCal.
You win the lotto.
I don't know why when you shut it off, it cannot shut itself off or escape. But that was a nasty crash going on in that a hiker in Riverside County, in one of the most dangerous trails in the world, was rescued. It's from Inside Edition. Here we go.
Crest Trail in Riverside County, California, 100 miles east of LA, said to be the most rugged hiking trail in America. Rescue specialist Jason Beeman was lowered to within a few feet of the woman who had been clinging to the rock for over an hour. You can see her leg trembling as she strained to hang on.
They finally did get her out of there. Again, I didn't even know that we had one of the most dangerous and treacherous places to hike here in Riverside County, but there you go. Another one, cops shoot a motorcyclist. Here's the report from Desmond Shaw, Channel 2.
Big response here by Newport Beach PD. It's not clear what happened, but it does look like someone was shot and had to be transported to the hospital. As I zoom in here, you can see a lot of medical waste right here, which will be left over for the investigation. I also noticed this motorcycle right here as well. It's unclear how this was connected, and it's not clear who fired shots at who, if the police were involved or not. But we do know that Hoga Hospital is not too far away at.
Well, it did become clear what happened, yes. Police did shoot the biker who was on that. Details are forthcoming on that. Oh, here's a couple more details of that from Channel 5. They've got a little bit more on it. Here we go. Maybe Channel 5 will take over, or Channel 5 doesn't seem to want to work. So we will skip those guys and move on to the next one. Oil refineries closing down. If Chevron pulls out, we'll be down to 5 oil refineries here in California. Here's Ashley's.
Companies are either considering or planning to shut down facilities in California. This comes as California's government continues to try to cut the state's use of oil and gas while adding more rules for that industry. Valero told state regulators yesterday they are considering idling, restructuring, or stopping operations altogether at its refinery in Benicia by April of next year. That comes after Phillips 66 has said it will shut down its LA area refinery by October of this year. If both of those facilities are out of the equation, that would mean California would be left with just 7 refineries. Chevron operates 2 of them here in the state.
There you go. If Chevron pulls out, then we're down to 5. It's getting ridiculous. Suspect arrested in the abduction of a child that was found in Beaumont. That was a big Amber Alert. It started in Palm Desert, ended in Beaumont, but the victim, the child, was recovered and the suspect was arrested. Someone is 10 years old. San Bernardino girl is graduating from Crafton Hills College in Yucaipa.
Community college. Her family says she was reading at 2 years old.
And doing algebra at 5. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has a remarkable story, including what's next.
While most 10-year-olds are likely in 5th grade right now, Elisa Perales from San Bernardino is in Computer Science 240, learning about assembly language at Crafton Hills College in Yucaipa.
I think that girl is going to go far if you're doing that at 10 years old. Wow. Trump finally puts it out, all the crap. So everyone that was social distancing and masking and supporting the lockdowns, there's Donald J. with all the stuff saying 98.7% of it was all bunk. Now, if you don't like the F-bombs, this is part of the fireworks that went on at the Redlands School Board. We'll have a little bit more from the Chino one here in a second. But this was the candidate that lost to Candy Olson in the school board, who the trannies are attacking, and we'll get into that later. But I just want to give you a flavor of this.
She lost. Fuck all of you.
As John Barry, former Press Enterprise reporter and Redlands Tea Party dude, said, it's a good thing she didn't get elected. Sonia Shaw posted this. This was at Chino Valley. We'll cover this some more too. It gets curious and curiouser what goes on.
You're afraid of. Y'all are a bunch of transphobic pieces of shit. I hope y'all all burn in hell. Hell, Satan, bitches. We won't be burning in hell. You're afraid of.
I don't know what is with the hell Satan stuff, but that's getting more curiouser and curiouser every day of what's going on. A new video shows Southern California Edison equipment may have been sparked the Eaton fire in Altadena. Here we go.
We're getting a look at never-before-seen video of how the Eaton fire may have started. And as KCAL's Nicole Comstock shows us, it's all part of a case against SoCal Edison.
Those attorneys compiled over a dozen witness videos, and without altering them, they cleared up the video quality. They now say they can see molten material falling from that SoCal Edison tower and lighting the hillside on fire in Eaton Canyon.
That's not good for Edison, but we'll see how it works out. No, we had that one. This is from a year ago. In the archives. Here we go.
This is according to a UCLA survey. The overall rating fell 2 points from last year, meaning a majority of those polled are in fact dissatisfied with the overall quality of life. 26% worry about losing their home. That number goes up to 37% if they're a renter. 59% of those surveyed cited housing as the reason for their lowered rate.
That was a UCLA study a year ago saying the quality of life sucked in Southern California and was going down further. Moreno Valley cops say crime doesn't pay. The canines will sniff you out. So they say, look what they found as you see it. One thing about it, dogs, 1,000 times better smell than we have. That's why they use them to sniff out the drugs, and that arrests were made. Streets hopefully are safer in Moval, and Lord knows we sure need that. The San Bernardino Police Department is cracking down on adults trying to sex up children. Here we go.
Catch a predator.
There they are, how to catch a predator. On that, they're putting some teams together to absolutely crack down on this, as they should. Have more on that here in a second when we get to more of the local news as it goes. What have we? Oh, here's an update on those encampment trailers from the City of Industry. Seem to show up in Wildomar. Here we go.
RVs that were moved from a homeless encampment in the City of Industry are now showing up in Wildomar. An Eyewitness News reporter, Jessica Thanova, spoke with the CEO of that company at their headquarters at Upland, and he assures his neighbors there at the business complex and residents in Wildomar that the RVs will be gone within a month.
We will learn from our mistakes and grow stronger and keep helping our customers.
Why does this guy always keep saying that? And it seems to be getting worse every day. I don't know. It's really, really, really something else. Let's hit some of the local news. Yes. Joseph Siders, 44, Palm Desert, and a drummer for the Canadian indie rock band New what is that, I don't know, psychographers or something, has been arrested following an incident at Palm Desert business involving a juvenile male. A juvenile said, hey, this guy's taping people while they're going to the bathroom and stuff. Joseph Siders was eventually arrested for child pornography and various other charges. We will keep you up to date on that. Paris cops nab suspected child predator in Redlands. They were online posing, the cops were, as a 13-year-old female, and got one to bite. Hang in there, girls. President Trump is fighting for you. Hang in there. Gang members, Judge Boasberg, and the Dems are fighting for you. That's apropos of going on. A Marine from Riverside was fatally injured in a convoy crash. Lance Corporal Albert Alleguera, 22, of Riverside, and Lance Corporal Marcenero Garanino, boy, I'm sure I'm getting those names wrong, 28, of Fresno, were killed when their vehicles crashed during a convoy movement in New Mexico. So rest in peace, those. Fontana cops arrest San Bernardino man for rape. Oscar Silva Morales, 31, of San Bernardino, was arrested for rape. Supposedly, he's been contacting females on the dating apps and messaging and contacting and getting and luring them in, according to the report. And they believe there are more victims around. So if you have any information on this, contact the Fontana Police Department. Yes, we had that yesterday and that bears repeating that they did arrest and that Redlands man on murder charges for that horrific crash in Riverside. There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live, almost 5. Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube, all those guys. We'll see if we can irritate them. We've been on a couple weeks on that. Man, missed this one. It must have just been filed, or I didn't see it. San Bernardino official files corruption complaint. That's just came on. Robert Porter from I Love San Bernardino just put that up, so we'll see. Maybe in the meantime, we'll see what's going on with that. Lots of stuff. Cops killed that biker. That's a kind of a weird one that was down there in Orange County. Shots were fired. We don't know any of the details of if he had a weapon, most likely, or was firing at them. I didn't know that we had the most treacherous and dangerous hiking trails right here in Riverside County, but that young lady was very fortunate that she had those with her that were able to rescue her, where she was stuck there on the side of a hill for almost an hour. So dramatic rescue footage there. Again, you learn something every day. I didn't know. One thing, if we don't fix California, the rest of the 49 states are going to have a big problem trying to recover or move forward or have a brighter future. Because there's just there's like practically everything here. And we have been, as we did a year ago, we ran that archive from our archives. 1 year ago today, the study came out and people were saying SoCal sucks. And no reason, no more than a year later, we could be down to 5 oil refineries, oil and gas and diesel. From 50. What was it, 10, 20 years? Probably 20 years ago, we had 50. We haven't built a new one since 2000, 25 years ago. The Benicia one, the Valero, seems on the verge, barring some sort of divine intervention or something, is going to close. That'll be down to number 7. Chevron pulls theirs out like they're threatening. Oldest company, what, almost since California has been a state. I mean, I don't think it's quite 150 plus years, but Chevron was our oldest corporation, main Fortune 500 player, which just moved their headquarters to Texas from up there in the Bay Area. They're shutting down their Benicia plant, the one up there in the Bay Area. They only got, if they do that, they'll only have one in Torrance, and the guy said yesterday that one might be on the chopping block too. We get down to, it's almost a guarantee by the end of next year, we are definitely going to be into single digits, even if they save 1 or 2 of them, or somehow they pull off a miracle and make it work. That we will definitely be by the end of 26, single digits of somewhere on oil refineries. That cannot continue. I don't care how big a pipe dream you got, or you think Elon's going to save us all with the electric cars or whatever. And maybe he will. I'm not saying that at some point electric cars will be a viable alternative for most transportation for people. I think it's a long way off if you're talking trucking and everything else. Or, anything, trucks, big construction equipment, things like that. They require so much horsepower and energy, BTUs. We'll have to see if we can get the smarty pants 10-year-old girl who's graduating from Crafton College in Yucaipa. And that sure puts you right in place of that. Now, somewhere I must have failed, because I think I was reading by 2, or maybe it was 3 years old, but 2. I think I was, but I didn't graduate. I didn't nearly graduate from a community college at 10 years old. But that does give you hope. And maybe we'll get into it. I've got it teed up. I don't know. Well, we got a little over an hour. But the whole Harvard education deal. Harvard, not only a premier university in the United States and the world. You went to Harvard Medical School, you went to Harvard Law School, etc. You had your pick of jobs. You had companies trying to hire you, people trying to hire you right and left. If you got a graduate or a BA or a graduate degree or a doctorate from Harvard University, that was like gold on top of platinum, on top of palladium. Man, it just didn't hardly get any better than that. Good, bad, or indifferent, most of our Supreme Court justices graduated from Harvard Law School. Harvard Law School and Harvard Medical School were basically the top 2 in both categories. Not only in the United States, maybe even the world. Now they are having remedial math. Remedial math being taught at Harvard. The whole thing. No, Trump auto poll. I don't know, whatever the. Wait, if we're giving Harvard University $9 billion out of our tax money that we send at the point of a gun to the District of Criminals, we're absolutely insane. We're beyond insane. They got a $50 billion endowment. And maybe even you could justify it if they were still turning out graduates that were the top of the top of the top of their field, like that 10-year-old girl from Purdue. And she probably will. She'll have her pick. If she wanted to go to Harvard, she would be on a full, if she wanted to get a doctorate from Harvard, she would be on a full-on scholarship. No questions asked. Now they're teaching remedial math, which means you can't hardly add 2 plus 2 and come up with 4. Some of the degradation of our society across the board. I mean, if we don't care enough to say, okay, our finest universities and our finest students are going to have, without question, they're going to the finest universities. That's why we passed 209. No quotas in the California university system. When you get to college, that's why we did a 3-tier college system back when Pat Brown and Ronald Reagan put this all together and built it and put it together in the late 50s, 60s, and very early 70s. That's why we had a 3-tier system. Community college, if you needed some help, just be nice. You could go, anybody could enroll at community college. If your SATs, ACTs were in a certain range, like, okay, you took it, you did good in school, you probably had maybe a 3.5 or to 4.0, maybe, or above 3.0 GPA, grade point average. You could get into Cal State, Cal State San Bernardino, Cal State Long Beach, whatever, Cal State San Diego. Then we had our university system, UCLA, Davis, University of California, Riverside. That was where the creme de la creme. You studied and got a 4.0. There was, I don't remember anything. Top of the line 4.0. Now you got, and maybe that 10-year-old girl from Purdue could probably get a 6.9. I go to the school board meetings and these kids come up and we get a 4.92 or 4.52. How the hell did you do that? We'll hopefully get to discussing that. I don't know. Trying to get that San Bernardino story. Wanted to see what was posted there. Oh, it's on Cal Matters. Let's see. Let's roll it up here. Inland Empire Community News. Thank you for citing Inland Empire Community News in its newsletter this week. Story in reference regarding former San Bernardino acting city manager Rochelle Clayton filing a legal complaint alleging corruption, retaliation, and document tampering. So read the story at iecn.com. So we'll follow up on that one. I know that's been a dumpster fire. I know Rialto School District's got a dumpster fire going on over there. We'll get into the Redlands, which I didn't get to, was last week, and last night Chino Valley. What's with the Satan stuff at the schools and the tranny connection? Boy, this stuff gets deeper every day. Makes you shudder sometimes. No wonder people are pessimistic about what's going on here. Because it's sometimes, and I mean, I've seen a lot, and sometimes it makes me a tad nervous of a lot of this ish that's going on. See if we can roll up. Let's get to the school board stuff. And since we were talking about Harvard and education and all that noise, see if we can get the... What I'm curious about is, what is all this devil worship stuff? We'll get to that in a second. But here's the first one at Chino Valley last night. And still, are we going to let a minority of people? And there's nothing, whatever. If you're having issues, which most teenagers do with the raging hormones and your physicality changing and everything, a lot of crap going on when you're a teenager. Get it? And nobody's saying that we should ostracize them or send them down to the El Salvador prison or anything like that. But when we keep talking about boys and men and girls and women's sports. Here's from the Chino Valley Unified School District, led by the great President Sonia Shaw. See if we can get here we go. There, we'll get it on the right one.
Y'all are a bunch of transphobic pieces of shit, and I hope y'all all burn in hell. Hell, Satan, bitches!
We won't be burning in hell, ma'am.
Y'all are really afraid of authenticity and people being their own true selves. You're afraid of love. You're afraid of...
Y'all are a bunch of transphobic pieces of shit, and I hope y'all all burn in hell. Hell, Satan, bitches!
So she says you're all transphobic, SOBs. Hope y'all rot in hell. What's this hell Satan sign? Looks like devil horns. That used to be what we used to call it when you did that. Maybe they got a little different way of doing it. That used to be devil horns. You had rabbit ears, horns, and then devil horns. And then, what are you afraid of? The next lady says.
We won't be burning in hell, ma'am.
Y'all are really afraid of authenticity and people being their own true selves.
Well, yeah. If you're calling us all, or most of us, the vast majority of us, transphobic SOBs, I hope y'all burn in hell. Hail to the Satan. Yeah, that tends to make people, the next one up, the little Miss Pinky shirt lady. Yeah, that tends to make us a little nervous.
You're afraid of love. You're afraid of solidarity.
Solidarity and love? When your bud is over there? She says, are y'all crazy? Well, no, we're sane. For once, we don't want to really, and if our kids are getting exposed to this, We want to know about it as a parent. If they're hanging out with people like this. Or people like this. Hell, Satan, bitches? Yeah, I want to know if my kid is being influenced by yo-yos like this. I would hope every parent would want to know.
Crazy for that. Absolutely crazy. I'm on my way.
It's crazy, lady. First off, what's with the mask? I mean, okay, take it the 1/10 of 1,000th of 1% you got some sort of medical condition. Why don't you have guts enough to show your face? At least the Hail to Satan chick. Well, no, maybe she didn't. Let's check. No, they're both masked up. Why don't you have guts enough, if this is what you believe, knock off the masks? You're going to make all these charges. We're homophobic. We're SOBs. We're going to burn in hell. We're all crazy. Then man, woman, tranny up, or whatever you want to say. Whatever makes you feel good, buds.
Solidarity? Y'all are crazy for that. Absolutely crazy. I'm on my way. It's over? Just wait. And all of you came here just to kiss Sonia's fucking ass.
Let's get police on.
Pathetic!
And all y'all just came here to kiss Sonia's effing ass. Again, these are the... You want to know if your kid's hanging around with this? At school? And they're going to hide it from you? No, these are the ones. I ain't saying they're transgender. They got issues. I'm no medical doctor. They got issues. Severe issues, in my opinion. As we did at the school, as Mr. Barry, John Barry, former PE reporter and Redlands Tea Party dude, said, good thing that other chick lost to Candy Olson. And I can't believe Redlands. Not that I can't believe it. I mean, I've seen the whole region change in the Inland Empire. From common sense, decent people, to this. Here's more. This is, I think, Sophia Lowry at Chino. Here we go.
My name's Sophia Lowry, former collegiate athlete, 4-year CIF varsity player, and I just want to thank you guys for bringing forward this Title IX complaint. Governor Newsom and the California legislature has worked really hard to erase girls' sports, and it's been disturbing to hear tonight people really work hard to make sure male genitalia is exposed in girls' locker rooms, to make sure girls are losing roster spots to boys. And the great thing about Title IX is everyone gets to play sports. You just have to play, males have to play with males and females have to play with females.
Again, it's absolutely astounding we're even discussing this. This has been going on since recorded human history up till a couple years ago. Like they said, Title IX, for those of you not familiar with it. It started with college sports, collegiate, NCAA and all that. You know, the girls were saying the boys and the men at the time, young men, the football teams, basketball, baseball, whatever, they're getting all the money. We don't have anything, yada, yada, yada. And I really believe it's not in the federal government's issue or doing that, but they made a mandate. The NCA put a lot of pressure in the feminist groups and everything. Well, we're not getting our due. We're not getting respect. We don't have the money. Blah, 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 blah. So they said, okay, Title IX, certain percentage of the boys' sports budget at a college has to be spent on the girls' sports. And there's nothing wrong with that. They deserve to have, compete, get scholarships to school. Takes a lot of work. I don't care if you're a female athlete, male athlete, tranny athlete, or whatever. If you're doing that, it takes a lot of time, dedication, training to whatever sport you're in. So, okay, we said we're going to even up the playing field a little bit so you guys are not so you gals are not deprived. And you can have baseball, basketball, track and field. Now, you're going to dominate gymnastics just because of the physicality of it. But by and large, 98.7% of the time, you can take the bottom run males and they're going to beat the girls. And it even gets to the dangerous point when you're into contact sports. Like even fencing, but especially anything, football, boxing, soccer, anything that has physical contact, then it really ramps up. Even baseball, basketball, even volleyball, where you're on the other side, like the one girl that's got permanent brain damage because the boy hit the ball at such velocity, hit her in the head, and now she's got permanent brain damage.
It's common sense. And it reminded me tonight that I'm on the right side, one, because biology's behind me, the truth is behind me, but the opponents are saying, "Hail Satan."
There we go with the Hail Satan stuff again.
And hail Satan.
And when your side's saying "Hail Satan," you know you're on the wrong side.
That was perfect. Love Sophia Lowry. And Hunter, I guess there they are with the Hail Satans. You're going to get about 98.7% agreement. When you're saying Hail Satan, you're on the wrong side of things. Nothing could be further from, or should be further from reality than that. But as they say, here we are today, dealing with more of this absolutely nutcase, ridiculous, stupid, insanity that we keep going. But it doesn't end there. There's so much stuff going on that I wasn't able to get to the Redlands folk, as they say. But we had the clip of the one young lady that John Barry had, who lost to Candy Olson and Jeanette, I can't remember her last name. It's the other one. Along with the tranny issue over there, they've been trying to get the transgender, they wanted their transgender flags in the classroom and on the flagpole and everything, and they said no. So they're pushing that issue all over the place again. And it couldn't be any more clear like Sophia Lowry said, when you're doing this hell Satan stuff, you are on the wrong side. See if we can play the whole clip that John Barry caught of this former candidate, and thank good Candy Olson beat the crap out of this lady and she didn't get on the school board.
That is more terrible to you than letting hatred speak. Bye-bye. You have trans students here. Trans students deserve to be treated with dignity. Trigger. And you're fine with that, but you're not okay with cussing.
Please. She lost. She's
Fuck all of you.
Loser.
Now, of course, that's a good way. And a lot of people want to grandstand it, and I get it. But again, let's have the debate. If you want to have a honest, civil discussion, any of you trannies, the pink shirted lady, the hell Sataners, the whatever that was just there that we shown in Redlands. Come on in, we'll have a discussion about it. If you got gripes or whatever, we'll get after it. Here's what happened at the Redlands School Board meeting about a week ago. Here we go.
Fill this meeting. Ask anyone who came here and supported these policies what brought them here, and you will get one answer: Olson and Wilson's hate church. That's what brought them here.
Yes. I don't know.
To be clear, I have no problems with anyone's religious beliefs, but if your church teaches you to judge and vilify people based on who they love, that isn't religion, it's hate. I give Olson and Wilson credit for one thing and one thing only: they are blatant in their hatred online, even if they are too cowardly to voice their bigotry from the dais. Mr. Cabral, please make sure Wilson and Olson get that equity and anti-hate training. They need a super extensive session on it. They're not learning. It's pathetic.
Again, they don't cite any examples of it. And on the second part, if they are speaking as a private citizen, just because you become an elected official, school board, whatever, president of the United States, the great Donald J. Trump, you do not lose your rights as a private citizen for free political speech. But to run the absolute nonsense that these cats try to come up with on a daily basis, it seems like. Here's another one. Teacher in Redlands.
And a parent, to remind you that you have a duty to all students and staff, not just the ones that look like you, the ones that speak the same language as you, pray to the same God as you, or love the same way that you do. You are a threat to the students in our district if your agenda jeopardizes their right to inclusivity and protection so you could bend to your conservative fan club. I'm here to encourage you to be present when you visit our schools. Some of you seem to be ignorant to our student population. While you're there, get to know them instead of tallying how many rainbows you see. I promise you that our students are more traumatized.
Oh, I can see why the students are traumatized, lady. If you're teaching them, just doing exactly what they accuse school board members Olson and Wilson of. They're doing it times 111%. These absolute this stuff is getting out of control. At least as far as what I'm seeing.
Once again, to do what you know is morally right and what's in the best interest of these children. Permissiveness is not love when children are confused. You tell them the truth, you guide them to do what's right. Some of us are born different, but not as many children now that have caught this bug because it's being encouraged and taught. Don't do that to children.
I believe that's the great Anita from Beaumont. Yeah, she's right. Don't be indoctrinating the kids. You can even have to, I'm not even opposed to having discussions about whatever you might see or anything. But it's like the flag issue they were talking about. You can, there's U.S. flag, California flag, military flags. That's it on public places. We're not playing favorites because once you do that, all holy bleep is going to break loose. This guy. I haven't run across him, but...
Hi, Board. My name is Greg Abdosh. I'm a candidate for the 45th Assembly District. And this is the first time I'm coming to this board meeting. And I come, thank you, Candy, thank you, Jeanette. I just want to encourage you guys. There's obviously a room full of people, and you guys have a very divisive and divided group. Remember, you got voted by a majority. Michelle, I would encourage you, each and every person on this cabinet, this board, has constituents that they're supposed to uphold and they're supposed to vote for. And when you get an agenda item presented to you, it's their constituents that are asking for that. So stand by that. I would encourage you guys to continue to fight for all children. I know this room is saying that, Christians are against trans kids. We're really not. But I'm a dad of 2 daughters. And if a boy were to walk in my daughter's locker room and expose himself, I don't care what he thinks he is, that's a problem.
Thank you. I've been calling for this. More dads, more men have got to stand up and say this. Point blank. If boys are walking into my daughters or girls or women's wives, mothers, whatever, don't even know them, we have a problem. Houston, as the old saying goes, we have a problem. These things are just like, well, I don't know about nails on the chalkboard, as they say. But it's sometimes beyond the pale of what we as a society have let it degrade to. It's encouraging to see more people stand up. Chino Valley, Redlands. I sure wish Riverside. I sure wish we had this Temecula. I sure wish we had this kind of sense of community in Paris, Valverde, Paris Union, Hemet, Moreno Valley. Because there is no way society can sustain itself if this is what we're going to be dragged down to. We'll see how it goes, but I hope the momentum keeps going. And it is refreshing to see more men, dads, show up at these school board meetings and saying, you know, this ish is not going to go on anymore. Not now, not ever. We shouldn't have ever let it happen in the first place. But even that we did, we're going to come in here and clean house. Just want to, well, we got a couple minutes here before we join the Mighty Met KMET. Let's roll her back. See if we can get the right. From the White House. Social distancing, 6 foot apart social distancing recommendation, which shut down schools and small businesses across the country, was arbitrary and not based on science. During the closed door testimony, Dr. Fauci testified the guidance was sort of just a peek. As mandates, there was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19.
Hey, Roy, we're about a minute out.
Okay. Flip-flopped on the efficacy of masks without providing American scientific data, causing massive uptick in public distrust. Prolonged lockdowns caused immeasurable harm, not only to the American economy, but also the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly negative effect on younger citizens. Rather than prioritizing the protection of the most vulnerable populations, federal and state government policies force millions of Americans to forego crucial elements of healthy and financial and sound life. So take that, all y'all.
30 seconds.
Who told us we were crazy, we didn't know what we were talking about, we were a bunch of quacks, idiots, fools. The overwhelming evidence says 98.7%.
Here we go,
What
10
we said
seconds.
was correct. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program not endorsed.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube, all that good stuff. Check us out, subscribe. Type in IE Newswire on Rumble. Cop shot another dude, biker on Orange County Freeway. Today we had the report on that. More exciting and riveting dash cam footage of a crash up in the northern LA area that was absolutely stunning. Man, it just, and the police chases. We always go through these phases, and man, we're in one of them, of that, where it just is absolutely incredible. You just like, they come one after the other, and then we like the crazies or whatever lay low for a month or 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe they're like werewolves. They only come out at certain times, and then That the whole hell Satan thing that's going on at our school board meetings and with the transgenders doing this. Showed up at Redlands, showed up at last week, showed up at Chino Valley. And I'm going to say this to the transgender community. If you want to have some civil discussions, maybe come up with some solutions to this whole thing, please come on it. If you're going to say, hail to Satan, you're all going to burn in hell, F you this, you're full of S that, da-da-da-da-da, we're going nowhere. We are going to go nowhere. In fact, you guys, I'm going to say 111% are not going to like the results if you keep pushing this tack. And that's not a physical threat or anything. I'm just saying you're not going to like the overall outcome if that's the way you're going to approach the issue. We had the great story, the San Bernardino girl, 10 years old, is graduating from Crafton College in Yucaipa, despite Harvard, which is teaching remedial reading to students. Once, maybe the top medical and law school in the entire world, most definitely in the United States. They're down to teaching remedial reading or remedial math at Harvard. We ran the study from a year ago here on IA Newswire from UCLA. People said life in SoCal sucks and is continually getting worse. I don't think we made much progress here in California, especially with some of the stuff we brought out today and earlier of that. But we shall see. Chevron, once, I think before this tech crap started, was the biggest corporation based in California. The energy refiner, explorer, down to delivering you that gas at the pumps. Said they might be pulling their 2 refineries. It's on the block. Might get to a little more of that later on. But I don't know. Sometimes all this stuff makes you go way more than, Kamala Harris, she might be. I hope we have to encourage. Please. Please. Encourage Comrade Kamala to run for governor of California. She's popping up with a new $25,000 to $44,000 a plate dinner coming up. So she's headlining a fundraiser for the Democratic National Committee. That bodes well. And again, we must encourage Kamala. The easiest, well, there's 2 reasons behind this. If a Chad Bianco or whomever from the center right if there's a candidate, the most likely candidate, major candidate to beat is Kamala Harris. Trump beat her just like he beat Hillary. She's a worse candidate than Hillary. Trump beat Kamala Harris in the popular vote, which a non-incumbent presidential candidate on the Republican side hasn't done since George Poppy Bush in '88. So please encourage her to run for governor. And if she makes it, then we might as well wreck the whole darn thing. Just burn. Let's get it burnt straight. Let's burn California clear to the down, and then we'll rebuild it out of the ashes. So there's no, well, let's say there's no two ways about it. Another one on the local scene we just saw or come across the wire. Ontario Police Department, we are currently investigating suspicious circumstances call at Oaks Middle School's officers are currently on the scene conducting their investigation. We request that parents refrain from visiting the school at this time, so we'll follow up on that. Here's, well, there's a couple stories. One from the California Globe. Harvard now offers remedial math acknowledging America's math collapse. College readiness has reached historic lows, including the lowest scores in 30 years on ACT and declining scores on SATs. That's the two tests that they kind of see where you slot in the old college try deal when you're going for it. This is the grade degradation that we've been going. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets an A. Student achievement goes down. Everybody's got even if you're failing, you got a 4.0 grade point average, which used to be the top. When I went to school, that's all you could get. There was nothing higher. A, excellent. 4.0 perfect score, 100%. There was no 110%, 150%. 100% means that's it. They want to change the meanings of things on this all across the board. According to the 2024 National Assessment of Education Progress math exam, 73%. 73% of 8th graders nationwide taking the test failed to score at a proficient level. 3 out of 4. Three out of 4 8th graders nationwide were not at grade level in mathematics. Lance Azumi, Senior Director of the Center of Education, which we had on the show, maybe we'll get him back on, Pacific Research Institute, recently published a book, The Great Classroom Collapse. Teachers, students, parents expose the collapse of learning in American schools, reported that one Harvard official acknowledged. Students don't have the skills that we intended downstream in the curriculum, and so it creates a different trajectories in students' math abilities. Translation, students' poor math skills, in the Ditch Van Gogh way, set them up for failure. We went on with this Common Core and all that, and I've seen this for about 3 or 4 months. Well, yeah, maybe 1.3% of the kids have to, they connect with that. The other 98.7 are looking at, you got to be kidding. Any kid that was taught, almost every kid that's been taught this whole liberal claptrap, transgender, hail Satan crap, looks at it. No wonder they can't do math. Hell, back in the day when I was going to, when they were trying to do crap, 1/10 of 1% of this. And I was in Midland School, for crying out loud. I said, this is ridiculous. Get your heads out of your rear ends. And I was 10 years old, like that young lady from Purdue. Asked my 5th grade teacher, Chuck Orr, if he's still around. Or Hanson, old lady Hanson, she's got to be dead. She was old back then. Most of the reason for the poor performance, Mr. Musi says, of the American students is because of the failed progressive math teaching methods and curricula published on schools by the National Common Core math standards, which were adopted by most states in early 2010. That started under George W. Bush, Republican, and touted by Barack Hussein Obama, Democrat. So it's a bipartisan failure. Under Common Core's math standards, tried and true standard or algorithms, step-by-step operational methods for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division were de-emphasized, while progressive and oft. Why do we use that? It is not progressive. It is degressive. Of course, they try to change the language. Everything progressive. Well, you think we're going forward. No, it is degressive. Practically every time you see the word progressive, now say no. Your policy, Common Core, education, opposing drill baby drill, supporting George Floyd, or whatever, is degressive. And such as drawing pictures to solve fractional multiplication problems were prioritized. I can tell you this. At the crime syndicate, the Moreno Valley Unified School District, a.k.a. known as the crime syndicate, they had plastered at the school board, in the school board hall where we had the meetings, the kids with their pictures of the math problems. And it didn't matter. If it was 2 + 2 and they put, we love butterflies and kitty cats. Oh, that was great. Oh, you get an A++++, because you drew a nice kitty cat. The result was widespread student math failure, with a federally funded study finding that Common Core had significant negative impact on 8th grade math achievement, and its negative impact increased over time. That's why you got 3 out of 4 kids in the 8th grade cannot do math at that level. It's even worse in the colleges. In my book, I conclude, Mr. Izumi writes, too many K-12 schools are putting political ideology over what works. We just seen that to school boards. Political, Satan worship. You don't agree with me, you're going to burn in hell. F you. You're full of S. Brown, before he left in 17, wanted to eliminate all of this. Any grades, any student achievement, you have to have this sort of grade level. Well, then why the hell are they in school? If you want 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daycare centers, then let's decide that's what our school system's going to be. And we can do it a hell of a lot less than $24K per student is what we're being charged now, you, Joe, stupid taxpayer. Which includes just about everyone listening to me here and across the state. They've dumbed it down. Quoting, California Democrats only succeeded in lowering educational standards, making tests easier, banning standardized testing, and giving an A for effort instead of academic achievement. This has resulted in Harvard offering remedial math classes and millions of American students unqualified to even count change at a fast food restaurant. That was from Katie Grimes, California Globe. Sometimes it's even hard for me to wrap words around this stuff. It is so monumentally stupid. And then you see this crap. You think they're bold enough to come up and say that stuff at the school board? What do you think they're teaching your kids? Why do you think they want to put 12-foot walls and razor wire and harder to get in the school? If you go back and look at the old Maxwell Smart, Get Smart TV shows where he's going down, going down the whole tunnel trying to get into the quasi de facto CIA headquarters. That's why they don't want you into the school. You would be horrified. Horrified. El Salvador, El Presidente, Brukel, reacted to this whole brouhaha over the gang member in his prison that we sent, that was illegally in our country, we sent back to El Salvador. New El Salvador president, Nayib Bukele, reacts to activist judges overstepping their authority to hamstring Trump and Doge. That's exactly what judges were doing in El Salvador in 2021. We impeached them all and proceeded to fix our country. Like you said, we went from one of the hellholes of the world to one of the safest cities in 4 years. And they got, you know how they did it? Here's the Ditch Bank Okie way of saying it. They got rid of stupid. They got rid of this crap at the school boards. They got rid of the trannies trying to do their Hell Satan signs and the FUs and all that. And teaching your kids stupidity every day so they have no future, but they will be controlled much more easily because they don't have the intellectual capability to discern they're getting hosed. Holy bejesus. And it goes for stuff none other than this. When you boil it all down. And I mentioned the George Floyd deal, but here's one more current. Let's put it this way. This is how they shape society. Mr. Penny, unarmed, restrains man threatening people's lives. Media frames Penny as a killer. Oh, he's that evil white man. But the black teenager, they could never do anything wrong because he brings a knife to a track meet, murders a student who attacked him, asks him to move. This is all allegedly so far. Media frames it as self-defense. We know Tim Penny got acquitted. We will see how the young gentleman in Texas fares. But this stuff And you can see it's just not one thing. It's like the old death by 1,000 cuts. They keep hitting, and that's our strategy. They keep hitting you at this flank, that flank. 16 ways to Sunday. You don't even know what's going on. And before you figure it all out, it's way, way, way too late. This one was fascinating. Somebody dug out a black and white photo. We could use someone like Donald Trump as president. Someone who could not be bought or changed. Hillary Clinton, 1994, as she's First Lady of the United States. And yes, the shorter one is Eric, and the taller one is Don Jr. sitting in the picture. Hillary said we need a president 30 years ago, like Donald Trump, who could not be bought or changed. Fascinating, isn't it? When you roll the archives, this is why history is important. The first wave of feminism. We want to be equal to men. Second wave of feminism. We don't need men. Third wave of feminism. We are men. Fourth wave of feminism. Men are women. That boils down a lot of what? And man, I've run through this from a child all the way through. I've seen this is exactly how it played out, and this is the reason why. They can make you believe men are women, then they know you do not have the intellectual capacity or the wherewithal to defend yourself from a tyrannical government. And that's the reason we had, or George Washington and crew gave us the Second Amendment, mostly to defend ourselves from a tyrannical government like they suffered through. And they were under the thumb of King George, and they were slaves to him. The Founding Fathers were slaves. Everybody in America was a slave to King George. Let's tell the real truth about history, and then maybe let's teach real mathematics. And then maybe we'll have some hope for the future. We better pay a lot of attention to this, or it will not end well at all. As you know, I've been talking about standing up for our country, doing something. These big box stores stayed open while the little guys closed. Will our voices be heard? Does voting with our dollars work? PatriotSwitch.com gives patriots the power to walk away from the big box stores forever. Stop supporting the enemies of freedom now. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com. Is your car doing the hucklebuck and afraid you will be stuck? Well, head on down to Toyota of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, in the San Bernardino Auto Mall, and catch a Camry, look ravishing in a Rogue, or be styling in a Subaru. Don't forget I-10 Toyota in Indio for those of you in the lower desert. You deserve to be the happiest human on the planet. So head on down to one of these 4 great dealerships for the car of your dreams. Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't bumble and stumble. Subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around. That's it. That's it. If you want to buy American, go to PatriotSwitch.com. If you need a new Toyota or Subaru, go to one of Cliff Cummings' great dealerships, the San Bernardino Auto Mall at the 10 and 215 freeways. Don't forget I-10 Toyota down in the lower desert. Man, what a faster than you Friday we have had. Just about, well, you got 6 hours left of it. Enjoy the weekend, do something fun, even though the weather might not be as great as it was last weekend, but that's the deal with spring. You never know what's going to happen. We get more like Texas weather. If you don't like what it is there, just wait 30 seconds, it'll change. But do something fun again. Have a great weekend. We'll do this all again Monday. That'll do it for today. Like we said, as we usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here in 71 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid program.
All right, Roy. Well, have a good weekend. I figured out something on this computer, the Windows 11 computer. You'll crack up at this. Do you remember the audio input thing I was telling you about the other day? That wouldn't come on? Well, the newer programs, when I load them up, they don't say anything about the audio inputs, being off or anything.
Right.
But I found a 20-year-old program, Adobe Edition 3.0. As soon as you bring it up, it tells you whether your audio input is screwed up or not. A 20-year-old program.
We should go back to teaching the way we teach math 20 years ago, and then we wouldn't have these.
Is that sad or what?
Yes. Yes. That's the way we can't. It's the way everything's going. I don't know if we'll ever be able to reel it back in.
But you just can't make this shit up. You know what I mean?
No,
I swear to God. But anyway, so as soon as I log into the computer now, I will open up that program and it'll tell me whether the audio inputs are screwed up or not. That's sad, man. I swear to God, dude. Anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Yes. No, that's apropos of the way a lot of things are going.
All right. Have a good weekend.
See you Monday.
Bye.